I recently got into My Hero Academia after multiple people pushed me and prodded me, telling me I would love it, and I watched it. And what do you know, I did love it. I loved Deku, and Bakugo, and Uraraka, and All Might, and all the heroes in the show. Except Mineta. But suffice to say, it really is quite good, and I think it's much more intelligent than it's given credit for. Not in terms of any message it's espousing, this isn't Neon Genesis Evangelion, the fairly standard shonen tropes are all in there, Nakama, the power of friendship, exceeding your own limits, etc. In execution, My Hero Academia has one thing that most other shonen series shy away from. Consequences. Characters develop. Sometimes they aren't strong enough to beat the thing in front of them. Deku spends most of the first 2 seasons basically unable to use his power because he would quite quickly and viscerally and seriously injure himself. And this too had consequences. He's not taking a senzu bean, he's not getting a medical ninja, he's not using his Furyoku to recover from this. He's out of the fight for episodes even. And even now that he's got full cowling, he's been told that if he uses his arms too much, he'll break them entirely. So, yes, he swapped over to his feet, which doesn't sound like a big thing, but it does necessitate changing up his whole style, and yes, limiting himself. Contrast this with something like Fairy Tail. Urza did not have it in her to beat Jalal. Except that deep down, she did. Natsu wasn't strong enough to fight Gajeel, except that he was. This character, reaching into their depth and having the determination to go on, is a hallmark of shonen anime, and that's, obviously completely fine. It's aimed at a relatively young audience, and teaching kids that through grit and determination that they will succeed is, a good thing to teach if they basically can't get some of the nuances yet. And, to be honest, My Hero Academia has the same basic themes. But I think it feels different because it feels precarious. Yes, Deku will always pull through, or at least someone on our team will. But there are sacrifices. All Might's loss of his powers, the press conference where Eraserhead and Vlad King are forced to apologize, Bakugo getting kidnapped. We will probably win, but not for nothing. The villains actually feel like they're winning, or at least that they could. And the training actually feels like it's leading somewhere. We can see events affecting most of our heroes, more than most ensemble animes. Todoroki is clearly a different person than he was before his fight with Deku. Ida's brother's death weighs heavily on him. Consequences mean things to these characters. Characters develop. Character development exists, and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, I love Naruto and Fairy Tail and One Piece all in their own ways. I'm currently watching Fairy Tail Season 3, whilst I mop up a few bits of Breath of the Wild. That's the thing, I never really have to be paying full attention, because Natsu will beat Gajeel, and Gajeel will join the good guys. Urza will beat Jalal, and he will be redeemed. There's nothing wrong with these things, as I've explained. They're just cliché. And I don't expect the same from My Hero Academia, but maybe I'm going to be proven wrong. I mean, who knows? Don't know yet. And whilst it's very true that it's still in the early stages, and in a lot of these Shonen Jump series the problems start to come from over-serialization. One Piece is at something ridiculous like over 10,000 episodes now. And there's still time for Deku to become so strong that it almost feels inconceivable that he's beatable. But by starting from literally the bottom and having him face off against really quite banal enemies, the series is given scope to expand. As far as I recall, every issue facing Class 1A is only really nationally focused. It all centers around Japan. There's a lot of scope for the series, internationally and even further aflung, and there's precedent in comic books. We can see there's the various street-level heroes, like Daredevil and, Jessica Jones and stuff like that, and then you have the like, sort of national-level ones, like the JSA, the war operating on, or the Avengers, slightly higher level than that, and even higher on a sort of, like, cosmic playing field that all of them sort of adopt after a certain point. You have things like Guardians of the Galaxy or the Fantastic Four. Side note, I really hope that My Hero Academia eventually decides to double down on the whole comic-y campiness and goes into space like the Fantastic Four or the Guardians. But not for a long while. At least till it's conceivable that there's nothing at home that might cause these problems. And this would cause, maybe a tonal shift if, aliens come out of nowhere, but it's all based on comic books, and, they're completely unbelievable anyway, so go for it. I wouldn't be surprised if, fucking the alien from Alien just turns up. That would be cool. Maybe not the alien from Alien. Maybe something a little bit less threatening. Anyway, as per usual, I have rambled on just a little bit. But the central point is that the strength of My Hero Academia is that it seems conceivable that our central protagonist will lose, even if he almost certainly won't long term. He's vulnerable in a way that many other heroes, your Natsus, your Narutos, your Ichigos, your Luffys, are not. The consequences seem to weigh on him and affect him. And I think it's this vulnerability that really is the core of why this can exist. Because in a lot of other shonen series, the hero doesn't project any of that. And I think that not only is that sort of unrealistic, and maybe it's good aspirationally, but it gives much more scope for the story to develop in interesting ways when the hero isn't constantly saddled with needing to present that he's always going to win. It's more interesting to me. And I'm looking forward to the next season coming out soon. It could also just be that superheroes are really cool. So this one was a little more rambly. I'm not quite sure. There wasn't really the depth of analysis that I was hoping to cover, but nonetheless, I wanted to say something about My Hero Academia and why I think it's particularly good, and I hope I've achieved that. I don't know. Some of my videos probably going to be a bit less, academically rigorous and just me chatting about stuff, so I'll see which of those I find more enjoyable, more fun to work on, which people find more interesting to watch. And I don't know unless you choose out of the available options. But until that point, I'm just going to do with what feels right. So, and the only way I know that is likes and subscribes and the thing like that. How the YouTube malarkey goes. But I think the general sort of ethos of what I'm trying to do here is just take things that I like and I guess explain why they're good to people who probably already know. I've lately been playing a lot of Fire Emblem Three Houses, so as soon as I can find something intelligent to say about that thematically, and I think there is a lot there actually about the relationships between the students and themes of betrayal and blah blah blah. It's very cool, and maybe I'll do something about it, but I've got to collect my thoughts first. I think that's enough of me rambling for now, and hopefully you'll join me in my future rambles in the hopefully not too distant future. See ya.